guys posted that or not or whatever, but just the NCAD's YouTube page is where they can find it. So it should be as soon as it gets going here, which it should in about a few minutes or now. They'll be able to see that.
See it now. Will it archive or just show?
It will just show. There's no saving, there's no recording or anything, correct?
Good. No, we don't have to do that.
So. Right. Okay.
What's our new quorum number?
I have to go back upstairs and print. What do we have? 17?
Yeah.
So that would be 9.
9? Okay. Just want to update the my sheet here. So I was at the Southgate City Council meeting on Wednesday. Yeah. And Brandy she's like, yeah, I'll be on the call on Friday. And I was like, oh, so you're the B. Barton email address. I wasn't sure who was going to do it. So
yeah, she's good. She's been there for a while.
And we'll see if Walton shows up. I added the mayor to the last couple emails, so we'll see.
Yeah, I keep getting mixed messages on Giovanna's fate and what's happening with her. I hear she leaves, and I hear she's still there. Then I hear she leaves, and so I'm not sure.
I heard back from Paul. He's not going to make it today.
Who's that?
Paul.
Paul. Okay.
Yeah. Independence Fire.
It's fine. I'm not sure if Mayor Adams will show. We'll see what happens with that.
Okay. So we are currently streaming right now.
Okay, good to know. No more
morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Craig.
Morning.
Just wanted we were just talking about how we are live streaming right now. So
okay.
Just wanted to let you know. And Lisa, you should already have the ability to share your screen. We took care of that before people started jumping on.
Oh, okay, so great.
Just hover over the screen there with your mouse.
Okay.
It'll have a green thing that says share screen. So.
Yep, I see it. Thank you. And when Brooke signs in, you might want to, I don't know if you can give her that ability too, or can you only give it to one person at a time?
Actually, we did it so everybody has the ability. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah, just like Teams.
Great.
So we have to go to Zoom because of our YouTube channel.
Okay.
So Lisa, if you remember before I left for my little weekend trip, I got the gag clause requirement disclosure.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. I do remember.
Okay. Do I sign that on behalf of the entire pool, not just my entity, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to know how to mark it, so I'll get that in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, team, we ready to have all the fun?
Oh yeah.
Love it. Little old school reference for the kids at home. Bring your green hat. Hey, Chris, Katie Joe brought donuts again. Just if you need any encouragement.
I'll be right back.
There is a s'mores one and a greasy peanut butter cup one. And then
Man,
you
she
got
went all out.
a apple swirl one out. They're the one outside her neighborhood. She
Okay.
told me, but it's just not. All I remember is Emerson's and how I don't like them, but it's not there. No, he really did run away.
You weren't kidding.
No, he was
He must have
not.
liked one of those.
Yeah, I was on him too, so I get it.
Now, if you said jelly donuts, I would have been on my way out.
Ugh.
I know not a lot of people like them, but that's my thing.
They're jelly or cream filled. Yuck. Not my jam, but it's all right. You don't have to like everything, right?
That's right. Hey, Brooke.
Good morning.
Greg, we've got an important question for you. What's your favorite donut place in Northern Kentucky?
Mm-mm. Probably has to be Moonrise.
Interesting. Very PC of you. Not the closest donut shop for you guys? No?
No, probably frequent Dunkin's more than any place else, but you know, Moonrise has the best.
Death to Dunkin'. All right, Miss Lisa, what's your favorite?
I guess Emerson's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Brooke, just because you're the only other person with a camera on, we're gonna ask you too.
So I'm not from around there. We have a couple really good donut shops up here.
Jolly Pirate for sure.
Yeah, see, I don't ever go to Jolly Pirate.
Oh yeah, where's that at?
It's in Newark.
Oh,
Rolls
wow.
by the
Okay.
pound. They have good donuts.
Nice. There you go. My sister and my kids do donut reviews a lot like Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews. Influence them, and they'll do those during the summer when she nannies for me and my wife. But
That's cute.
like, so she's been to all of them all over Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati.
Hmm.
I think Holtman's is her favorite.
Is that an OTR?
Yes, I believe so. I was like, she uses my credit card to get all of them, but I've never been to any of these places, and there are never any left when I get home. So
I thought they closed that location in OTR.
Oh, maybe they did.
they
Yeah.
might have.
Yeah.
I forget where they went.
Yeah. Tony, I guess you would probably have to go with reality.
You know what? I try to avoid donuts. It's one of those things. If I eat one, I'm going to have to eat 3 or 4.
Mhm.
So I'll pretty much just eat whatever's put in front of me. I think, my wife tends to do, she'll pick up a Buskins at Remke here and there, but
Tony, that was the most guy answer I'd heard today, sir. I'm in about the same boat. Oh, it's food.
I'm an apple fritter guy.
Oh, yeah.
Usually when you get one of those, you think, okay, that's big enough, but you eat one of those and it's like you just opens it up and you got to eat a Bavarian cream and
'tis the season for them.
yeah.
Well, guys, we are off and running in the right direction. Chris, it's 9:01. Take us away, my friend.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure we still have quorum here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you could, what would help if the name on the Zoom account could also include who you're representing? That would help with making sure we have a quorum. Because some of these names aren't really people's names.
Okay, well, so Pierce is in for Bellevue.
I have that. And I,
Thank you.
Okay, Chris is here for Crescent Springs Fire Authority. So,
who's here for the fire authority?
Carissa Hoyle.
We have 7 right now. Let's see.
I got 10.
Let me look at the list.
Got Boone County Water, Carrollton Utilities, City of Bellevue, City of Ludlow, City of Park Hills, City of Southgate, City of Villa Hills, Crescent Villa Fire.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Northern Kentucky, Pendleton County. Okay, so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Mr. Secretary, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do have quorum.
Okay, great. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda that was emailed out. Any
like to-
questions or changes?
No, sir. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right. Chris makes a motion to approve. Second, Terry. Any questions or concerns? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, for everybody who is a voting member, state law requires your camera on. Sorry. So that would be Pierce and Carissa. We need you to turn on your cameras. And then for sake of introductions, just new names for me. Who is Taylor F?
It's probably on our end. Taylor
That's
Fulcher.
with us.
Okay.
Taylor's on our team.
And who is Joe's iPhone?
That should be Joe Jones.
Joe Jones? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is Joe Jones. I was just unmuting myself. It takes me a little minute. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Come on, Joe.
There we go. All right, great. Thank you. So next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes that was emailed out. If there's no changes, then I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any discussion or changes? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. Next item up is the financial report. Lisa Stan.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Not yet.
No? Okay. Well, let me try again. Oh, missed a step. Okay, how's that?
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so this is a report of the first quarter of the plan year. And you'll see on the far left-hand side your attachment point. So that is your maximum claims liability per your stop loss contract. And for the first 3 months, that was about $1.5 million. And you had in-network medical claims of about $782,000. Out-of-network medical claims of about 360,000. Pharmacy claims were about 217,000. Your fixed costs were about 281,000. That is your stop loss premiums that you pay and your administrative fees that you pay to MedBen, as well as some banking fees that you incur for having your checking account and a few other miscellaneous fees. And then the total cost then was about 1.6 million. So far, there haven't been any stop loss reimbursements, and premiums collected were about 1.5 million. And one thing you might notice is that July saw a lot more premium than August or September. And the reason for that is that in August and September, there were some credits due to one of the participating entities. And you'll see that beginning in October, the premiums will look more like what you saw there in July.
Okay.
And there, we'll talk more about the credits here in a few minutes and how we can avoid having to have that situation again. A little further down the agenda. Okay, and the amounts that applied to the aggregate were 1.3 million. So you're running at about 85% of the attachment point or the aggregate. And on the right-hand side, the net plan cost, partly again because of the premiums being down somewhat because of the credits, was about $123,000 to the negative. You did receive about $37,000 in pharmacy rebates, about $8,200 in interest. PCORI fees this year were about $1,700. Specialty drug HRA claims have been about $6,600. And when you factor in the prior year reserves, you're sitting at about 1.7 million. One thing that we're going to add to this financial report, probably for the next meeting, is the reserve buy-in amounts that have been received from new participating entities. So this number does not capture that at this time, but we're going to add that for future reports. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, Lisa, can you scroll down? What's the PCORI?
That is an Affordable Care Act tax that the plan has to pay each year. It was supposed to have sunsetted a few years ago, but it got extended out to, I think, 2029. So that's an annual fee. Gotcha. And yeah, it's due in July of each year.
No, it's fine. That was the only acronym I didn't recognize.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. It stands for Patient-Centered Outcomes Research Institute fee.
Oh, yeah, the shakedown.
Whatever that is. I'm sure that the federal government is putting it to good use.
Lisa, don't patronize us.
All right.
Thank you,
Are there
ma'am.
any other questions about the financial report? Still early in the year, and I think 85% is still kind of a target range as far as where we want to be versus aggregate. So, it may not look good on the surface, but it's still early in the fiscal year for us. So
yes, Mr. Chairman, you're exactly right. It's really hard to draw any major conclusions about how a plan year is going to run based on first quarter data. We've seen that in prior years, and you'll see when Brooke gets into her report that first quarter to first quarter of last year, you've had some additional high claimant activity. You did have 2 babies born and you had a NICU stay. But when we project out over the course of the year, we're projecting that you'll be, if the 3 remaining quarters continue on as the first quarter has, that you'll be down about 6%. But again, it's very early to draw any major conclusions.
fair enough. All right, if there's nothing else on the financial reports, we'll move on to our agenda items. And so the next item is the MedBin first quarter review.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just briefly walking through this information. Again, it's a third quarter review, so it's hard to draw any conclusions. You've had 3 people, which I'll get to, who we consider to be a large claimant so far this year. The good news is all of them, it looks like their prospective risk scores are going down, which typically means claims, well, one was a heart attack and it looks like that individual is getting better, and then you had a baby. So just looking at July through September and then annualizing your claims out through the end of the year, we're projecting you to be flat. When we look at it from a per employee per year standpoint, you did have an increase in the number of employees and members that you cover under your plan. So when we look at it that way, we're projecting you to be down about 6% from last year. And then when we add in your net cost when we add in your cost and put it on a per employee per year basis with your fixed cost, we're still projecting you to be down about 6%. When we look at just strictly time period to time period, last year at the same time period, you only had one individual that was considered a high claimant. Again, this year you have 3. And you've had more employees and members on your plan. So just looking at medical and pharmacy net, you're up about 47%. When we put it on a per member per month basis, which takes into consideration the fluctuation that you've seen in your enrollment, you're up from last year. You're right around $676 per member per month, where last year you were around $496 per member per month.
Big jump.
Taking a look, hold on, let me zoom in. I don't know if that helps anyone. So taking a look at some of the main cost drivers within your plan, looking at your pharmacy claims, you're at $104 per member per month. Last year you were at $98. Our benchmark's $110. So right in line with our benchmark. Your inpatient claims did spike in the first 3 months of this year compared to last year, mostly due to the long NICU stay in the heart attack. So you're at $130 per member per month. Last year, you were only at $40. Outpatient claims, you're at $321, closer to our benchmark, but last year you were at $253. And then your office visits are up. You're at $111 per member per month. Last year, you were at $99. You've seen an overall increase in your office visits. Your preventive visits have gone down, but your other visits are seeing an increase in utilization. Just looking at a few medical trends, this does not include any pharmacy claims. So when we look at, again, you can see the increase that you've seen here in the number of employees, the number of members that you cover under your plan. You can also see that you've had an increase in the number of people that had a claim. So you had 488 people have a claim, and the number of claims that we've processed are up about 15% from last year, which is common when you have that type of increase in enrollment. Your average medical claim cost is at $409. Our benchmark's $402. Last year, you were at $304. And then I'm just showing a breakout in your population. In this graph, you can see that employees still continue to make up the majority of who you cover, followed by dependent children and then spouses on your plan. Down below, you can see that employees also make up the majority of costs this year, representing about 52%. You did see a spike in your dependent claims, mostly coming from the large NICU stay. They represent 33%, and then spouses represent about 15% of your spend. I'm going to jump over that. Just taking a look at your top hospital providers, you can see the different St. Elizabeth location are broken out by their tax ID number. They are your most utilized hospital and your top paid facility. You only had one claim at the Meadowview Regional Medical Center, but it was a large claim. Total facility claims this year right around $618,000, where last year at the same time period very similar in regards to the hospitals that your members were utilizing, but about $402,000 in hospital claims last year. Here is a breakout of your office visits. You had 640 routine visits, 109 preventive, which is down a little bit from last year, 136 mental health, and 29 telehealth. And then imaging, you had 48 total scans between MRI and CT scans. You didn't have any PET scans. St. Elizabeth was the top paid facility for your scans. And then down below are your outpatient surgeries for the time period. You can see that St. Elizabeth was also your top paid facility for any outpatient surgeries that were performed. And the cost of those outpatient surgeries are well below your benchmark. ER visits. You did have one individual that went to the ER more than 6 times in the first 3 months of the year. We like to call them frequent flyers. She had, I believe, 4 visits in July. They seem to be back to back. I can't tell from the information that I'm seeing if she has a primary care provider, but we'll continue to watch and see that individual's treatment patterns. If you see down below the ER visits by severity, the majority of your ER visits were considered a very high severity, followed by high, moderate, and then you only had one fall into the low. So I would be more concerned if you had a bunch in the minor category or a bunch in the low category. Only 3% of the ER visits were actually considered potentially avoidable, and our benchmark for that is 24%. And then inpatient admissions, we touched briefly on this. You had 6 total admissions. 2 of them were medical, 1 was surgical. You had the 2 maternity admissions, and then you had the NICU inpatient stay. The NICU inpatient stay was a 42-day stay, followed by you had, out of the 2 maternity, you had 38 inpatient days, 6 medical inpatient days, and then 5 surgical. Okay. And then this page, we're looking at anybody that's met half of your specific deductibles. So we're looking at anybody over $42,500 in claims. You have 3 individuals that hit that threshold, with the top one being an individual that had a heart attack on your plan. It was an employee, about $134,000 in paid claims. The good news is her prospective risk score, which is a multiple of the average cost of the individual on your plan. Moving forward, her risk score is going down, which typically means claims will continue to improve. The next one was the dependent that had the NICU stay. That individual's prospective risk score is also going down. It appears the baby's doing better. And then you had another dependent child on your plan that has diabetes, about $65,000 in claims, and his prospective risk score is also going down. So total of the 3, about $305,000 in claims compared to last year. In the first 3 months of your plan, you only had 1 individual, about $66,000. So that's really the difference between last year and this year, what you're looking at from a cost standpoint. And then just highlighting your top chronic conditions, hypertension continues to be your most prevalent, followed by hyperlipidemia, and then low back pain. taking a look at your well living compliance. So this report was updated on October 10th. You can see from this point in time, your annual wellness exam compliance is about 48%, cholesterol is about a 67, colonoscopy 54, mammogram you're at a 64, pap smear between for members 21 through 29 you're at a 43% compliance, and over 30 you're at a 62% compliance rate.
Hey Brooke, could you go up to the slide before this again?
This one?
One more, sorry. Yeah, I was like, I just wanted to look at that again.
Oh yeah.
I go, a lot of those very preventable too.
Yeah, the good news is hypertension and hyperlipidemia are typically easily managed by medication. Low back pain has always been up there for your group. You did have 10 fewer members that we identified with low back pain compared to last year. At the same time period, you had 85. So that's it. Actually, every single one of these categories have improved from last year to this year. Diabetes continues to be steady. We also monitor if they're doing what they need to do to manage their conditions. I didn't touch on this, but compared to our benchmark, your total chronic disease score has actually gone down, which means typically people are more compliant with what they need to be compliant with in regards to whatever they're diagnosed with, like taking their medication or getting their A1 or getting their exams. So if they have diabetes, A1C, lipid profile, that's improved, and you're beating our benchmark pretty significantly.
So just to ask on your benchmark, what's the purpose of your benchmark number?
Yeah, so we benchmark all of our municipality and public clients together so that you can compare like groups. We have a lot of groups that are in Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia that fall into that municipality public benchmark sector.
So is that a good number? Or is that just of the average of these groups? This is just the average score we see. It's not really a good or bad number. This is just like you're above or below the average.
So the higher this score gets, typically it means that more members are out of compliance with their wellness exams, which typically means you can see an increase in cost. You guys have pushed over the last several years the well living and getting compliant with the screenings that you need to become compliant with, which has definitely improved your risk scores. So this is a chronic disease score. It's on a scale of 0 to 100. The higher it gets, it means that your population is at greater risk.
Okay. And I guess that's what I was getting at is the average benchmark isn't necessarily a good score necessarily. It's just, hey, of your group, this is the average. So it's like, oh, cool, we're below the average, but it's still not good necessarily.
Right. We probably have, I don't know, 40 municipality clients that are falling into there. Most of our groups that aren't pushing wellness are above that benchmark. The groups that do typically see improved. And out of those 40 municipality or public sector clients, I would say 60% of them have our well living program. So some of them may not have our wellness program, but are doing something else, or maybe some of them aren't doing anything at all.
Okay. And then one other follow-up question, I can maybe wait on that one till there. And Craig, you might know this because it was triggered based off going to the MedBen conference last month. We don't cover GLP-1s, do we? Or are they covered?
Yeah, you cover GLP-1s, but an individual has to have a diagnosis of diabetes and have a certain A1C score to get Ozempic or whatever GLP-1 they're trying to get.
Okay.
Yeah, and you don't cover weight loss drugs. Some of the GLP-1s are for weight loss. Others are labeled for diabetes. You only cover the ones for diabetes. And only, as Brooke said, with a diagnosis of diabetes and with other criteria having been met.
Okay. I was like, I just wanted to throw that out there. I go, the pharmacist that presented at your all's conference has been living rent free in my mind for the last several weeks. So
He's really good.
He is a very powerful speaker, yes, and very knowledgeable. He's a great asset.
So,
well, he
just
was phenomenal.
to educate the entire group that's on the GLP-1s for diabetes are a slightly different strength formulation than the ones for weight loss.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And so that is a difference. And then I also just want to point out, when you look at that list of chronic diseases, the lower back pain doesn't surprise me, because the makeup of our membership is fire department and public utility heavy.
Yeah.
Compared to probably just a run-of-the-mill municipality. We don't tend to, overall as a group, have a lot of desk people. I mean, some agencies like the ed have a lot, but
Yeah,
we're
an outlier in that.
Yeah, but most of the rest of us do not. So that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Brooke.
All right. And then this page is your utilization metrics on a per 1,000 basis, so that you can compare how you stack up against our benchmark. The next page are your actual metrics. So a couple things that I'll point out that we didn't go over. Up at the top, you can see time period to time period, your ER visits, pretty steady. You did have an increase 39 compared to 34. That could also be because you had more members and more employees on your plan. Urgent care visits, you had 29. Here you can see the breakout of your office visits. So an overall increase in your office visits compared to last year. Preventive visits are down about 5%. Mental health visits are up about 12%. Mammograms, you had 23 mammograms this year. You had 6 colonoscopies. So going along with additional wellness requirements. Outpatient surgeries, you had 28 compared to the 30 last year. And then you had 2 babies, both of them are C-sections, and 91 inpatient days. A lot of those days are stemming from the NICU and the maternity.
Hey, Brooke, have we seen an increase in mental health office visits over the last several years, or okay? And that being more utilized?
Yeah, we across our block of business, we've seen an increase in mental health visits. You're seeing about a 12% increase here compared to our benchmark. What we typically see, if you were, say, a group of 1,000 employees, you're actually a little bit below our benchmark.
Okay.
But yeah, we've seen that steadily increase since 2020.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have some pharmacy reports. These are new reports that just give additional information. I'm going to skip over the first one, and we already went over that in our report. I wanted to jump to this one. This shows you how many employees versus the prior period, how many employees and members that you're covering, how many people had a pharmacy claim. So you had 369 people have a pharmacy claim, and the number of scripts that were filled went up. Again, not surprising because of your increase in membership this year. Your average cost per script also went up from last year to this year, but you're below our benchmark. I want to jump to here. You can see the largest dollar increase from the prior period. So again, your biggest or your most utilized category of medications are diabetic medications. You saw in the previous page how many diabetics you had on your plan, which has stayed steady. But there's about 57. Ozempic is your top. You can see the total amount planned, the number of scripts, and then the number of members compared to the prior period. Followed by Jardiance. Manjaro, you didn't have anybody on Manjaro last year. You do have 4 utilizers on Manjaro this year. And this is by therapeutic class. So again, diabetic therapies are your top paid therapeutic class, which isn't surprising. Up from last year, from January through September of last year, is about $83,000. This year, it's about $92,000. Okay. And then let me jump to, sorry, this page, which is what you're used to seeing. This just shows time period to time period. Again, one thing that I wanted to point out on here, your generic dispensing rate, you can see it stayed steady. It's dropped just a little bit to just under 85%, which that's typically what we like to see, is an 85% generic utilization rate. No specialty meds hitting your plan this year. Last year, you did have some specialty meds in the first 3 months of the plan. Okay. Any questions on the MedBin report?
There are no questions. I'll say thank you. And to our new members, this is a lot of information all at once. All I can say is you get used to it over time, and it'll make more sense the more meetings you attend. It'll all start to click. Next item up on the agenda is the enrollment changes.
Okay, so previously I mentioned that we had to give some credits to an entity because there were some people who were on their plan for a time who shouldn't have been on, so we had to go back and make some corrections. So we just wanted to kind of talk to everybody about how we can make sure that you're only paying for people who you should be paying for. So Michelle and Joe are going to give you some tips for making sure that you're all good on who you're paying for each month on your invoices. I don't know which one of you guys wants to go first.
I don't. Oh, you
Go
can
ahead,
go
Joe.
ahead. No, please go right ahead.
Well, I'm Michelle Mittendorf, and I'm the one who sends out the bills every month. And the only thing I wanted to really add is when you get your bill from me and then you pull up your MedBen detail on your secure account, if you could just go through the detail every month, it's kind of your chance to self-audit your bill and make sure all the changes have been made that you want made. And if not, then contact Joe or Kristen or me. And that's what Joe's going to go over, is how to go about rectifying it if things are wrong. So Joe, I'll kick it to you.
Okay, thank you, Michelle, and thank you for putting yourself on the camera. For those that I'm putting myself on, I apologize to those that don't know me, and also to the ones that do know me. You're back in my face. I was very tempted to use my pig since I'm working from home as my picture today, but I thought that would be a little too unprofessional when I showed myself. But I am Joe Jones. I am on here twice. I'm trying to do a little screen share so that I can pull up one document here. So I'm just working on that real fast. If it doesn't work, then I can just quickly just go over the materials. Okay, share. So right here, what I have is the account service team for the Northern Kentucky Public Entity Group for billing and enrollment purposes. Besides those that are on Employee Navigator, if you're on Employee Navigator, it's going to come over. But for those that are not on Employee Navigator, Kristen Fields, and here's her email address right here, and I can send this out to everybody that is on this email that's on this meeting from the email invite. But Kristen Fields would be your day-to-day contact when it comes to billing and enrollment, again, unless you're utilizing the Employee Navigator system. Mike and I are also there, but if it's an enrollment issue, we typically are going to forward that over to Kristen to work on and get resolved. If it is a claims related issue, Kristen will work on it, but Mike and I jump on those as well. In regards to some things that some billing things that are coming up that I was just made aware of, there are several entities that are on Delta Dental. Delta Dental has changed platform systems, and if you are a Delta Dental member, it's probably the bane of your existence right now because it kind of didn't go so smooth, and they're still working on those bumps. But Delta Dental just released something yesterday that says anything that was captured in the system between 9/16 and current will not show up on the invoice for October. They did not capture anything during that transition, but it will be captured on the November invoice, which will be released early next week. So if you do have a Delta Dental account and a change was made during that time period, it might not be reflective on the bill. It's reflective in the system, but it will be coming up on the next invoice. But again, if you have an enrollment such as a termination or somebody that needs to be onto the plan, if Cheryl Morgan represents the carrier, whether it be life, dental, or vision, Kristen will be the person that you'll want to send that to so that she can get the person properly enrolled in the benefits. Lisa, did you have anything else to add in?
No, I don't. Does anybody have any questions for Michelle or Joe?
Hey, Lisa, I'd throw in too, this was a consistent issue for me at a previous place of employment. So we put in reviewing this bill along month end and just did as part of our month end process and go, hey, is what's on the bill match our roles? And I go, it's something that we're working on that month end process here at the ad to get that up to date. Because I go, it's just you want consistent and correct bills, right? Well, that's kind of on us too. And I go, we got to take the 15 minutes to do that review. So I go, invest that time. It's well worth it. That ounce of prevention is worth every bit of a pound of cure for you. But
yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you.
Right. And I think it's also important to note that you're going to get two pieces of information. One, you'll just get as a regular email, which is a summary of the bill, but then the bill detail is through the secure.medbin email platform, and you have to log in to pull that data down. And so you have to have both pieces in order to do the comparison.
Good point, Craig.
And that's for our new members. All right. Next item on the agenda, if there's nothing else on this one, is a interlocal renewal update. For those of you who were here, the 12 of us who were here at the very beginning 10 years ago, Brian Diener actually put that interlocal together for us. And then when Edgewood did Form Fire, it was determined that they shouldn't join the group at the time. But Brian Diener has this thing that I've worked with Diener for many, many years. He's got this thing when he does interlocal agreements that he always uses an odd number for the duration of the interlocal agreement. And so ours was 11 years. So that will expire. So our interlocal actually expires on June 30 of 2025. And so we're going to have to renew the existing interlocal. And I know that's going to be a bit of a shock for the people who just joined. But the city attorney for the city of Villa Hills has been asked to update the document because there were some changes to the Interlocal Cooperation Act a couple of sessions ago. And so we're just going to rearrange some stuff in the interlocal to match what the to match what's all going on. I'm hoping that's not mine.
Yeah, that's Joe's.
Joe, you're still sharing screen.
But to match the new language in the statute, and then also to catch up on some of our practices of what we actually do. So I hope to have that to everybody by the end of the calendar year and to give all of you plenty of time to get that adopted before June 30, because we will have to have that filed downstate. And for entities that have fiscal courts and councils or commissions, city commissions, you're going to have to vote on that. It's an ordinance, so you have to read it twice. For the other public utilities and the fire departments, that's a resolution for you guys, so you'll have to read it once. But we'll have to have all that done in enough time to get it properly filed with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State's office. And I'm taking care of getting at least the document prepped. If you have any concerns or questions about that process, please let me know. Right. That's all of the items I have under agenda items. Are there any announcements and or reminders?
It was like the only thing I'd throw out, Craig, is just thanks to our great representatives here with MedBen and Comey Shepherd. I go they put on a great health conference last month that Craig, Chris, and I all three attended. Some great information, some really helpful stuff as we go forward in managing the insurance web board and just kind of help educate our members. So just thanks to the team for that. Very beneficial.
Yeah, Cheryl Morgan does a great job with that. They really put together a class conference for a couple of days.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that, and everybody's welcome to come next year. For anybody who didn't attend this year, it's usually in September, and we have a lot of fun social events that go along with it. So we'll make sure and give you plenty of notice so you can hopefully join us next fall.
All right. So our next meeting that I have down, thanks Chris for the reminder, is January 17th. So we won't be meeting again through the holidays. And at that point, we'll have 6 months of data in, so we'll be able to talk about that. So anything else for the good of the order?
Just sorry that I didn't know how to turn off the screen share, everyone.
You're fine, Joe.
All right. If there's no other business, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, Harry. I saw the thing. He put his hand up. All right. And no other discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
See y'all in January. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Bye.